Welcome to day 3. You're about, well, actually halfway through, and I hope everything is going well for you. Today, we talked about establishing guidelines yesterday, but we didn't specifically talk about participation guidelines. And those are really, really critical. We need to make sure that our students understand at least the minimum participation, and letting them know that more is better. We really sort of struggled early on with how do you essentially take attendance in an online course. And by establishing minimum participation guidelines and keeping track of that, you can essentially figure out who's attending and who isn't, and keep track of participation that way or attendance that way, as well as by having students actively participating, you're much more likely to form a solid learning community.
And one of the critical pieces of this is making sure as you, the instructor, you model that participation. You show up in the course room or the classroom on a regular basis, and I try to get in there every day because I know that if I miss something, it may take me a little longer to catch up if I'm not in there every day. So I try to get in there and get involved in the course just about every day of the class, and I know that's against some beliefs, but it's just one of the things I do so I don't get too far behind, and you need to model that behavior for the students.
Yeah, I think some people feel overloaded by, getting in every day, and you certainly are going to have days or weeks where that's not possible, but I also try to do the same thing, even if you're only in there for a couple of minutes, just to make sure, as one of our former provosts used to say, that there are no academic emergencies.
Yeah, that's true.
You just want to make sure that all is going well, and you don't want to miss something that's really critical. So logging in every day is really important, even for just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I know. I've started teaching for a school that does undergraduate courses, and one of the things that's interesting is they say you don't have to log in every day, but if I don't log in every day, I get an email saying, you didn't log in last night. I'm going, okay, there's a misfire here somewhere. Yeah. So anyway, to me, it's a good thing to be there every day. It shows the students that you care, you're concerned, and you take the time to just visit them each day.
Right. And if we continue to think about establishing presence, being there and showing students that you're there through participation and posting is one of the ways to do that. And we have some more suggestions for developing presence in your online course, because presence is so critical to the development of a good solid learning community. So one of the things that's really important is to use collaborative activities in your online course. And we realize that there are some courses or some content areas where collaboration is a little more difficult. And I'm thinking of like math and science kinds of courses. But we've seen some very creative math and science instructors who have created some really interesting collaborative activities in their classrooms.
And I think the research is beginning to show with that type of curriculum development, a type of collaborative activities, the students are beginning to be more math proficient. They're beginning to become more involved in the math, and they're beginning, I think, enjoy it a little more since it's an activity where they can be involved in. The next thing we want to talk about is a thing we call developing good questioning techniques and using experience-based activities. There's a book out by Preskill and what is his name? Brookfield, Stephen Brookfield.
I can't believe you forgot.
I know, it's one of those things. The title is Discussion as a Way of Teaching. An excellent book, and it has some really good questioning methods and techniques in there that would be, if you teach a lot online, if you teach online at all, it would be a good way to get your, and I use it all the time myself. I have it printed out, and it's right here on my desk. If I get lost somewhere and I want to ask a question, I say, oh, this would be a great way to question what the student is saying. So anyway.
Right, because a lot of us think about open-ended questions, and we sort of have this blanket category that we call open-ended questions, when in fact there are many different kinds of good questions that go beyond what we would normally consider to be open-ended questions.
Exactly.
As Keith was mentioning before, in terms of the instructor being present frequently, that's a way for us to provide prompt, unambiguous feedback to our students, and they know that they're there, that we are there, excuse me, that they are on the right track, and that we can provide the kind of guidance that you still need to provide in the online classroom, even though we want learner-to-learner interaction to be primary.
Exactly. And the last point we want to make what we talk about is high level of instructor interaction, and we don't mean respond to every student. We don't mean that you have to be there and lord over the conversation. What we mean is, if the students need you or you need to respond to a question, you need to be available and do that. Don't become the, what's that word we use? That's not the guide on the side. What is that? The sage on the stage. Yeah. Yeah.
Sage on the stage.
I turned 65 and I keep forgetting things now. So.
Those senior moments.
Yeah. So anyway, do that. It's important to not only model that for your students, but it's a good way to get engaged with the students, and you don't have to answer every question, but pick and choose and be very methodical about how you do that. Okay.